So hello and welcome back to Go Again Gaming. My name is Az and today I'm going to be sharing with you a new series called the Why I Love series. Now this could be talking about certain cards, certain characters, certain mechanics, certain things about the Flesh and Blood card game as and when they come up. So definitely hit the like and subscribe button and hit the little bell notification if you want to be notified of any of these future videos. And if you are a Flesh and Blood player and you want to pick up any sealed product or Ultra Pro accessories, use my discount code in the description box below. That is with the card vault to receive 3% off your order and help the channel directly. That'll be fantastic. So yeah, the Why I Love series is kicking off with my favourite hero, and if you haven't have guessed, it is Viserai Runeblood. So there's loads of different reasons why I love Viserai. So I'm going to list those now. The first one is he is just a constant clock on the game. So Viserai cares about, creating rune chant tokens. Every time you create a rune chant token, you're clocking up all of these rune chant tokens, which it sort of instills fear in your opponents because it's a form of damage that they cannot deal with unless they've got Arcane Barrier, Spell Void. So they know that they're going to be constantly under pressure. Seeing that timer click up means that their life is going to click down ultimately. So that's what I love about Viserai. As you're doing your stuff, as you're going through the motions, you're building up your rune chants. Your opponent is seeing you build up your rune chants and is getting more and more scared that those rune chants will pop off whenever you play an attack card or attack action card or attack with a weapon. So they've always got that fear factor, and I think it makes the opponent it forces action because they know that there's a timer on the game, and they know that timer exists because the rune chants is acting as that timer. So they're forced to take action, they're forced to make decisions because they know that as soon as you attack, they're going to lose X amount of life, where X is obviously the amount of rune chants that you've built up over time. And yes, the opponent can sometimes negate a little bit of damage here and there of Arcane Barrier and Spell Void and other sort of card effects, but ultimately they are getting rushed into making decisions. They're rushed in their game plan because they know that timer is always going up with every action that the Rune Blade takes, as well as the cards that also create rune chants. So yeah, that's why I love Viserai. It's putting more pressure on your opponents straight away. As soon as you start clicking up your rune chant tokens, your opponent is then becoming under pressure, because any attack that the Rune Blade makes then blows up in a magnificent spectrum of purple as you get blasted in the face with arcane damage. So yeah, that's the first reason why I love Viserai, is that he is a constant clock on the game. The second reason why I love Viserai is that his hero ability is a built-in engine for the deck, and obviously that goes and bleeds over into the constant clock on the game. So every time you play a Rune Blade card, if you've played a non-attack action card before that, you're going to create a rune chant token. So again, yeah, the main sort of strategy of Viserai is play a non-attack action card. Normally this is the Whisper of the Oracle that normally sets up and sort of determines where you're going with your strategy. Whisper of the Oracle, one of the best cards in the deck, and I will do a deck list at some point, but yeah, he's a built-in engine. So you play a non-attack action card, then every Rune Blade card you play after that will spawn a rune chant token, which is brilliant. So again, a built-in engine for what you want it to achieve. And with Viserai, again, going back to the clock on the game, the engine that's built into Viserai will enable that clock to happen. So yeah, built-in engine into the card, which is just fantastic. There's no, yeah, I mean there is a hoop to jump through, but playing a non-attack action followed by a Rune Blade card is very easy. And I think one of the most common plays that I have in the game is Whisper of the Oracle, whether that's red, yellow, or blue, followed by a red, yellow, or blue Read the Runes. To get the rune chant from Viserai and the rune chants from Read the Runes. That's probably one of the most common cycles of play in the deck most of the time. But yeah, it's just, again, a built-in engine. That's what I like. I like to have characters that you can just spin the wheels and just do your thing. But at the same time also pressurizing your opponent into making bad decisions, hopefully. So yeah, that's number 2, the fact that Viserai is a built-in engine. And obviously with card synergies as well, Viserai just goes massive. Like Mordred Tide is a ridiculous card. All those cards out there that care about, you know, your card costing resources less depending on the amount of rune chants that you have, they are always good as well, because they basically read in these decks that those cards are free to play. So again, the engine is built in there. Some of those cards, like Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath, for instance, you know, in a deck like this, you know, it should read that this attack costs you nothing to play. And that's how you want to read it. So again, built-in engine, built-in synergy of all the cards in that Runeblood class, and again, the reason why I absolutely love it. Very, very focused on what it wants to do, but going into the next point can also be very, very varied as well. So my third point of Viserai is that you don't have to be focused, but you can. With Viserai, with Runeblade, or with rune chant builds, you can play a variety of different ways. You know, you can attack from different angles, and the Legend Story Studios website says itself it's a perfect mix of sword and sorcery. You can do big physical damage, but you can also do little bits of arcane damage. You can build up all of your rune chants to unleash a massive torrent of arcane damage all at once. You know, that's the good thing as well, is keeping your opponents on your toes. Where is the damage coming from? Is it going to be physical? Is it going to be arcane? When are those rune chants going to pop off? Again, it's stuff that your opponent has to think about all of the time, because again, arcane damage is hard to block, but then you still have to think about trying to block the physical damage, because you know the Runeblade can do both things. So again, you can take it in lots of different ways with Runeblade, which is another reason why I absolutely love it. And you can change. There could be so many iterations of a Runeblade deck. There could be, you know, a charge, a massive attack, or just unleash little torrents of little attacks. And there's also defensive capability in Viserai as well, with Reduced to Rune Charm. Again, one of those cards that costs 0, basically, if you're playing the deck correctly, and it creates a token and blocks a lot of damage on the defense reaction side. So yeah, again, you can play offensive, defensive, and just passive as well, just building up all of your Runeblade tokens and then unleashing them all. There's loads of different play styles you can play with Viserai, and that's why I absolutely love it. So that's the third reason why I just absolutely love this character. And the fourth reason is similar to the third reason. That's the mixed damage output. So obviously you can do physical damage and you can do arcane damage, and that is difficult to equip against. So obviously if you're playing like a best of 3 or something, you know, with Viserai, when you're facing Viserai deck, you don't really know what to do, because do you want to try and soak up physical damage, or do you want to try and soak up arcane damage? So you just don't know. With a Viserai deck, you don't know what way that player's going to go. I mean, yes, there will be a lot of arcane damage, but you don't know whether they're going to go full in on the strategy of building up massive rune chant damage, or whether they will be still coming at you with little hits here and there with their nebula blades or with their sort of rune flashes, and you just don't know where the damage is going to be coming from in the main. So as an opponent of a Runeblade deck, do you equip yourself with a lot of stuff that soaks up physical damage, or do you equip things that soak up arcane damage and arcane barrier and spell void? What do? You know, how do you counter it? How do you defend against something that is so varied with regards to damage output? And again, that's another reason why I absolutely love it, because you can choose really what you want to do with Viserai. You can attack. You can pretty much get, you know, as long as you've structured your turns correctly, you can sometimes get an average of 5 to 6 damage each turn. You know, because you're attacking with your normal attack plus the little rune chants popping off. You know, you can get a mixture of physical and arcane damage every single turn. But then if you want, later on, you can just take a turn off and just build up a load more rune chant tokens that on the next turn is going to do 10, 11 damage. So that as an opponent, it's hard to sort of gauge where this damage is coming from and what cards you can use as a defender of Viserai to actually defend the attacks. Because you can't defend arcane damage with cards from your hand. You have to have arcane barrier or spell void, or just one of those cards that says prevent the next X damage or what have you. I don't know the cards off the top of my head because I'm still new to the game, fairly new. But again, one of the reasons why I absolutely love Viserai is because of the mixed damage output. And finally, the fifth reason why I love Viserai is just the awesome Eldritch flavour, the colour scheme, the sort of purple hues and sort of rune chant aesthetics I think are really, really awesome. And the fact that it's Viserai is quite sort of warlocky in the sort of portrayal of the character. It's very sort of Eldritch Blast sort of style, and I absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. Just pure raw arcane energy just blowing up in people's faces. Arcane Rising as well was the first product I bought because I saw Viserai was one of the sort of base characters, and I thought, well, when I was first getting into the game, I was just scrolling through the heroes, and I was like, Viserai, wow, what is this guy about? You know, he's sort of leaking arcane energy, and the graphic of him just floating there on the Legend Story Studios thing is just fantastic. I'll try and flash it up for you now. Yeah, absolutely love Viserai, and cannot wait to play some higher stake games. In Viserai in itself, he's his Arcane Rising hero, so he's not really represented in the current meta for competitive play, but I want to see how far I can go with him. Absolutely love it, and that's why I love Viserai. All of those things that I've just aforementioned there. You've got the constant clock on the game, the constant pressure of those rune chants ticking up. He's got a built-in engine every time you play a Runeblade card. If you've played a non-attack action card before that, you're going to be building up your tokens and your rune chant tokens to hit people in the face with. You've got a variety of play styles, and you've got loads of mixed damage outputs as well, and awesome Eldritch flavour tacked on as well. So that is why I love Viserai. Leave your comments in the section below. Who do you love and why? And we'll see you on the next Why I Love video. Peace.